Serial rapist John Michael Enard has been on the run now for 60 days after removing his GPS tracking device and absconding from this Houston halfway house.
None of this should have ever happened.
Why? Because Enard is one of 272 rapists and child molesters considered so dangerous and likely to reoffend, the state had them civilly committed, giving them the dubious distinction of being an SVP, sexually violent predator.
These are guys who have an extensive sexually violent history and also have a behavior abnormality.
A deviant abnormality that the state says makes them the most likely sex offenders to rape again.
We're dealing with the worst of the worst, the most dangerous population of sex offenders.
And yet, after Enard bolted and became one of the state's most wanted, dangerous sex offenders, Fox 26 Investigates discovered the parole board actually voted to let Enard leave prison early, along with 10 other civilly committed, sexually violent predators.
Bottom line is the parole board owes the public an explanation. They need to explain why they did what they did, why they voted this way.
Only 272 people have ever been civilly committed.
Again, Mr. Wallace, the parole board makes release decisions. And on these particular individuals, we release them.
According to documentation the parole board gave us, the board knew all 11 of these sex offenders had been civilly committed before they were paroled from prison. But in this interview, parole board member Reese Owens disputes that.
You all are aware of it when they walk out of prison.
There are times when we are and there are times when we are not.
The parole board admits they knew Enard was civilly committed months before his release. Same thing with other sexually violent predators like James Jackson, Raymond Smith, and Alfred Villegas.
After they've been civilly committed, can the parole board say, you know what, we're not letting this person out?
Mr. Wallace, you're asking me the same question.
You're not answering the question. Can the parole board do that? Once you know they're civilly committed, can you say, no, we've changed our mind?
I think that's the second question you asked me today, and I told you that there are times, and I told you that I would get that information.
There are times what? That you have said, no, we're not going to let this person out?
That's not the question that you asked.
The question is, once you know they're civilly committed, can you stop the parole? Can you say, no, we're not going to parole this person?
The parole board has yet to give us one instance where that happened. The board now says in 3 cases the inmates were civilly committed after they were paroled. While final judgment orders for Norman Evers, Robert Leos, and Ronald Mitchell were signed after they were paroled, the state filed paperwork seeking to civilly commit them months before they were released. One of the few actual answers Owens gave us was a shocker.
Have there been other civilly committed sex offenders that have been paroled besides these 11?
Yes, sir.
And of course now we want to know how many and who they are.
You're going to get back with me with the total number of sexually violent predators that have been paroled and the ones that you did not know. No, it's not irrelevant, Harry. I mean, this is something that people need to know. You don't think that people should care about this or be concerned about this? I mean, I don't get it.
You would think Enard alone would make the parole board concerned. For all they know, the wanted serial rapist is somewhere turning his vow to rape again into a terrifying reality. We had to file a public information request to find out exactly how many civilly committed, sexually violent predators have been paroled and who they are. We'll let you know once the state provides that information to us. Randy Wallace, Fox 26 Investigates.